Piloerection means raising of the hairs, and also it causes profuse sweating. So this mineralocorticoid, for example aldosterone, so far I had explained the example of glucocorticoid, that is cortisol in particular. Catecholamines are nothing but both the adrenalines and the noradrenalines are together called as the catecholamines. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to another session on chapter 22, that is chemical coordination and integration. I am Dr. Divya, biology faculty, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, Temple of Excellence. In the previous session, we discussed about the hormones secreted by the pineal glands, the thyroid glands, the parathyroid glands and the thymus glands. In today's session, we shall discuss about those hormones secreted by the adrenal glands that is located above the kidneys. We shall study about the hormones secreted by the pancreas, and also we shall look into the hormones that are secreted by the gonads. So to begin with, we shall study about the adrenal gland. So adrenal gland is one of the endocrine glands that are situated just above the kidney. So if you can see here, on the kidney, you can find the adrenal gland located. So, our body has one pair of adrenal gland because we have a pair of kidney, right? We have a pair of kidney, one on either side, and on top of each of the kidney, there is presence of adrenal gland. So, therefore, our body has one pair of adrenal glands, one each at the anterior part of the kidney, that is at the top portion of the kidney or the anterior part of the kidney, it is present. And the gland is composed of mainly two types of tissues. One tissue, it is centrally located and it is called as the adrenal medulla, and the other one is located outside and it is called as the adrenal cortex. So, cortex means always the covering. So, it is understood one which is located at the peripheral region or outside, it is called as the adrenal cortex, and one that is located exactly at the center, which is called as the adrenal medulla. So, what hormones do these adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex secretes? We shall look into. So, first talking about adrenal medulla. So, the adrenal medulla secretes two hormones. One is called as the adrenaline, or it is also called as the epinephrine, and one more is noradrenaline, or it is also called as norepinephrine. Why it is called epinephrine? Because it is present in the adrenal medulla, that is at the center. So, there are two types of hormones that are secreted by them. One is adrenaline or epinephrine, and one more is non-adrenaline, or it is also called as non-epinephrine. So, these together are commonly called as catecholamines. So, the epinephrines and the non-epinephrines, or the adrenalines and the non-adrenalines, are together called as the catecholamines. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are rapidly secreted in response to stress of any kind and during emergency situation, and therefore they are called as the emergency hormones, or also they are called as the fight or flight hormone. So whenever you feel scared of something, they say you feel a adrenaline rush, right? You feel like your body is trembling, it's shivering. That is nothing because the adrenal hormone that is there and the noradrenaline, both the adrenaline and the noradrenaline, they get secreted, causing in response to a particular tension or stress whenever you're scared or something. So that is why they are called as the emergency hormones, or they are also called as the fight or the flight hormones. Sometimes when you're scared of something, especially when you're scared of something or something, there will be an adrenaline rush. And that is nothing but the secretion of the adrenaline and the non-adrenaline hormone. So, these hormones, that is the adrenaline and the noradrenaline, they increase the alertness of the individual, saying that something bad is going to happen. And it also increases the pupillary dilation, that is the dilation or the decrease in the size of the pupil of the eye. It helps in Piloerection. So piloerection means it helps in raising of hairs. When you feel scared, sometimes you'll get a goosebump, right? You'll get goosebumps on your hands, or when you're excited, you get goosebumps on your hands. All that is nothing but because of this adrenaline rush, which is nothing but the secretion of the adrenaline and the noradrenaline. So it causes piloerection, means raising of the hairs, and also it causes profuse sweating. And both the hormones, that is the adrenaline and noradrenaline, it increases the heartbeat and it increases the strength of the contraction of the heart, and also it increases the rate of respiration. So whenever you feel scared, you'll start breathing heavily, right? You'll start panting, and also your heart starts to beat very faster. All that is because of the adrenaline rush that is taking place. So these catecholamines. So what are catecholamines? Catecholamines are nothing but both the adrenalines and the noradrenalines are together called as the catecholamines. So these catecholamines, apart from stimulating your body during an emergency situation, they also help in breaking down of glycogen, therefore resulting in the increased concentration of glucose in the blood. So we all know that glycogen gets broken down to form glucose molecules, right? So therefore this adrenaline also, or the catecholamine in general, meaning both the adrenaline and the noradrenaline, they have the capability of breaking down glycogen into glucose molecules, therefore increasing the concentration of the glucose in the blood. And apart from that, they also help in the breakdown of lipids and proteins, which means they help in proper metabolism process. So this is a function of the adrenal gland, which secretes the hormone adrenaline and noradrenaline. Next, moving further, these hormones that I was talking so long, that is the adrenaline and the noradrenaline, they are secreted by the adrenal medulla. Now let's look into what are the hormones that are secreted by the adrenal cortex. So where is the adrenal cortex present? It is present outside. It covers the outside of the adrenal gland, right? Adrenal medulla was present at the center of the adrenal gland. What did adrenal medulla secrete? They secreted adrenaline and noradrenaline. What does adrenal cortex secrete? We shall look into. So the adrenal cortex is again divided into 3 layers, which is called as zona reticularis, which forms the inner layer, the zona fasciculata, which forms the middle layer, and the zona glomerulosa, which forms the outer layer. So it has 3 layers. An inner layer called as zona reticularis, a middle layer called as zona fasciculata, and an outer layer called as zona glomerulosa. And the adrenal cortex, it secretes many important hormones, and these hormones together they are called as the corticoids. So what are the different corticoids they secrete? We shall look into. What are the hormones secreted by adrenal medulla together called as? They are called as catecholamines. What are the hormones secreted by the adrenal cortex called as? They are called as corticoids. Now, what are the different corticoids they secrete? We shall look into. So, the corticoids which are involved in carbohydrate metabolism are called glucocorticoids. So, adrenal cortex secretes a hormone called as glucocorticoids, which helps in the metabolism of carbohydrate. And in our body, cortisol is the main glucocorticoid. Which is the best example for glucocorticoid? It is cortisol. So, corticoids which regulate the balance of water as well as electrolytes in our body are called as mineral corticoids. And apart from that, there is one more hormone called as aldosterone. It is the main mineral corticoid in our body. So, talking about here, all the hormones secreted by adrenal cortex are called as corticoids. Now, in corticoids, there is one particular corticoid which helps in carbohydrate metabolism. It helps in carbohydrate metabolism. This hormone or the corticoid hormone, which helps in carbohydrate metabolism. So carbohydrate metabolism means carbohydrate gets broken down into glucose and they are called as glucocorticoids. Glucocorticoids. And the corticoids, they are glucocorticoids, one kind of corticoids, okay. So, and in glucocorticoid, which is the main glucocorticoid that helps in breakdown of carbohydrates, it is nothing but cortisol. It is cortisol. Next, there are types of corticoids, there are some types of corticoids which help in maintaining the water balance and the electrolyte balance in a body. They are called as mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids. Now, a best example for a mineralocorticoid in our body is aldosterone. This is how it is. Don't get confused. So, under corticoids, there are two types of corticoids. One is glucocorticoids and one more is mineralocorticoids. Glucocorticoids help in carbohydrate metabolism, and example is cortisol. Mineralocorticoids help in maintaining the water balance and electrolytes in the body, and example is aldosterone. Now, it's understood, right? It is easy. This was about the corticoids that are secreted by the adrenal cortex. So, what all comes under corticoids? Glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. Next, moving on to glucocorticoids. So, what does the glucocorticoid exactly do? So, the glucocorticoids, they stimulate gluconeogenesis, that is breakdown of glucose. They help in breakdown of fat. They help in the breakdown of proteins, and also they inhibit the cellular uptake and utilization of amino acids. And cortisol, cortisol is one of the glucocorticoids. This cortisol is involved in maintaining the cardiovascular system as well as the functions of the kidney. So, that is a function. Next, moving further, talking about the corticoids, wherein we were talking about glucocorticoids. So, glucocorticoids we had studied. Glucocorticoids, they mainly help in the breakdown of glucose. They help in the breakdown of proteins, fats and all that. Apart from that, glucocorticoids, especially in that cortisols, they help in maintaining the functions of the heart and the functions of the kidney. Apart from that, glucocorticoids, especially the cortisol, it produces anti-inflammatory reaction, therefore suppressing the immune response. So, and also cortisol, it stimulates the production of RBC, that is red blood cells in the blood, and aldosterone. What is aldosterone? Aldosterone is a mineralocorticoid, right? So, this mineralocorticoid, for example, aldosterone, so far I had explained the example of glucocorticoid, that is cortisol in particular. Now, I am talking about the example for mineralocorticoid, which is called as aldosterone. That aldosterone, it mainly acts on the renal tubule, and therefore it helps the renal tubules to reabsorb sodium and water and excrete potassium and phosphate ion. So, that is a function, so that the urine concentration can be maintained. So, therefore, in general, if you forget this, you can also write aldosterone helps in regulating the functions of the renal tubule in maintaining the concentration of the urine. That is also correct. So, this is the functions of the different hormones called as corticoids that are secreted by the adrenal cortex, which are called as the glucocorticoids, for example cortisol, and mineralocorticoids, for example aldosterone. Next, moving further, thus the aldosterone helps our body to maintain the electrolyte balance. They help in maintaining the body fluid volume. They help in maintaining the osmotic pressure, and not just that, they also help in maintaining the blood pressure. And apart from that, the small amount of androgenic steroids are also secreted by adrenal cortex. So, apart from secreting aldosterone, which is a mineralocorticoid, these adrenal cortex, they also play an important role in secreting a particular hormone called as androgenic steroid. So when I say androgenic steroid, it is understood it is something related to men, right? So what they do is they help in the growth of axial hair, the pubic hair and facial hair during puberty, especially in men. So that is their function. Next, moving further, we shall study about the hormones that are secreted by one more endocrine, that is pancreas. So pancreas is a composite gland which acts both as an exocrine gland and an endocrine gland, and hence it is called as a composite gland. The endocrine pancreas consists of islets of Langerhans. So if you can see here, we have the pancreas. The main function of the pancreas is to secrete insulin. We all know about that, right? So in the endocrine pancreas, there are certain cells which are called as islets of Langerhans, and these are about 1 to 2 million islets of Langerhans in a normal human pancreas, and it represents only 1 to 2% of the pancreatic tissue. So though 1 to 2 million islets of Langerhans is present in the pancreas, because the pancreas is made up of islets of cells called as islets of Langerhans. But in spite of having 1 to 2 million cells of islets of Langerhans, the normal human pancreas represent only 1 to 2% of the pancreatic tissue. So the two main type of cells in the islets of Langerhans are called as alpha cells and beta cells. The alpha cells, they secrete a particular hormone which is called as glucagon, and the beta cell secretes a particular hormone which is called as insulin. That is why pancreas is said to secrete insulin. What cells in the pancreas secretes insulin? It is the beta cells which are present in the islets of the Langerhans. Next, talking about the glucagon. So what is the glucagon? Glucagon is a hormone secreted by the alpha cells of the pancreas, or the alpha cells of the pancreatic islets of Langerhans. So glucagon is a peptide hormone, and it plays a very important role in maintaining the normal glucose levels in the body. And glucagon, they act mainly on the liver cells, that is on the hepatocytes. Hepatocytes are nothing but the cells of the liver, and they therefore stimulate the production of glucose or glycogenolysis, resulting in increased blood sugar or hyperglycemia. In addition to that, glucagon hormone also stimulates the process of glucogenesis, which also contributes to hyperglycemia. So glycogenesis and glucogenesis both contributes to hyperglycemia. That is nothing but overproduction of the glucose in the blood. And glucagon reduces the cellular uptake of glucose and its utilization. Thus, glucagon is a hyperglycemic hormone. Glucagon is one such hormone that results in hyperglycemia or overproduction of the glucose in the blood. So therefore, how much amount of glucagon has to be secreted by the pancreas? Only so much amount has to be secreted, not more than that, not less than that. More than that will result in hyperglycemic condition. Next, talking about insulin. So insulin is produced by the beta cells of the pancreas, the beta cells. So insulin is a peptide hormone, and it plays a very important role in maintaining the glucose level in the body, that is glucose homeostasis. And insulin acts mainly on the hepatocytes, that is the liver cells, and it also acts on the adipocytes, that is the cells of the fat tissue or the adipose tissue, and also it increases the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. But glucagon, it decreases or it prevents the uptake of glucose by the cells, leading to hyperglycemia. But insulin enhances the uptake of glucose by the cells and its utilization. As a result, there is rapid movement of glucose from the blood to the liver cells and to the fat cells, resulting in decreased blood glucose level, that is hypoglycemia. So glucagon causes hyperglycemia, Oversecretion of insulin causes hypoglycemia. Glucagon causes oversecretion of glucose, which is also harmful, and insulin causes undersecretion of glucose, which is also harmful. Insulin also stimulates the conversion of glucose to glycogen, which is called as glycogenesis in the target cells, and the maintenance of glucose, which is called as glucose homeostasis in the blood, is maintained by two main hormones, that is the insulin and the glucagons. So therefore, the insulin and the glucagon. So insulin is secreted by the beta cells of the pancreas, glucagon is secreted by the alpha cells of the pancreas. Their secretion should be well balanced in such a way that the glucose level should neither increase nor should decrease. But what happens here? Oversecretion of glucagon causes hyperglycemia. Oversecretion of insulin can cause hypoglycemia. So that is what actually happens. So this is the function of the hormones that are secreted by the pancreas, that is insulin and glucagons. So next, talking about the insulin. What happens if insulin overproduction occurs? So insulin causes diabetes mellitus, which is nothing but sugar. So prolonged hyperglycemia or prolonged secretion of high amounts of glucose will lead to a complex disorder which is called as diabetes mellitus. And this diabetes mellitus, it is associated with loss of glucose through urine and also formation of harmful compounds known as ketone bodies. So that is why always the glucose level in the individual should be maintained, and diabetic patients are successfully treated with insulin therapy. Why? Because here the glucose gets lost from the body. So there lots of glucose has to be produced, or the glucose level has to be brought to normal. So in such a condition, insulin therapy can be given to the diabetic patients. So in such a condition, insulin therapy can be given to the diabetic patients. So this was about this session wherein we studied about the hormones that are secreted by the adrenal glands and the pancreas, and we also understood what happens if the hormones are oversecreted or undersecreted. And in the coming session, we shall discuss about the hormones that are secreted by the gonads, that is the testes of the male and the ovary of the female, and also we shall study about the hormones secreted by other organs such as the gastrointestinal tracts, the heart and the liver, etc. And also we shall study about the mechanism of the hormone secretion. So we shall meet again in the coming session. Thank you.